All right, so I got a short little clip here for you guys that was from a press conference with Jen Psaki, where she was basically fielding questions from some reporters on Joe Biden's previous speech surrounding Afghanistan and how he was pulling out and what he wants to do with his future militaristic foreign policy agenda. And this question is one of the most bloodthirsty and really generic militaristic questions that I've seen from the reporting base from the media, the mainstream media throughout this entire process. We know that they are extremely pro-war and massively biased in that way for the military industrial complex. They are in many ways the stenographers for the Pentagon and CIA and all of these other agencies. But really, this question is just so blatantly bloodthirsty that you really just have to listen to it to understand what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and play this.
Does the president envision any situation in which he might deploy a large amount of U.S. troops abroad under his presidency? Any sort of foreign conflict that would require the sort of mass troop deployment that he just said we are trying to move past?
Well, I think one of the pieces that he talked about in the speech was how he views our engagement in the world, and I think this is probably why you're asking this question, and the horrible scenes and memories of the last few weeks. And as we think about how we embark on or how we use military force, these moments and these divisions of the last several weeks or months or years should stick in us, and he may stick in our minds.
Does the president...
Right. So what the fuck was that question? The whole entire premise of his question was, and again, it was based on this statement here that we're going to get to, but the whole premise of his question was, is there any situation in which Joe Biden would launch a large-scale troop mobilization? It doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter what country or why or for what reason. Just, can you please give us more war? Please, just a crumb of war, good sir. That's literally how he was just answering or asking that question. And so this is kind of what he was talking about, right? This was the piece of the speech of what Joe Biden was saying. So basically he tweeted out here, this decision about Afghanistan is not just about Afghanistan, it's about ending an era of major military operations to remake other countries. So as a standalone tweet, if Bernie Sanders had tweeted this, I would absolutely love it and I would 100% support it and can get behind this messaging. In a pure rhetorical sense, Joe Biden is 100% correct here, right? We should be taking the lessons of Afghanistan and realizing, hey, maybe we shouldn't be trying to rebuild other countries on the opposite end of the world who don't want us to be involved there. Maybe we shouldn't be trying to do like a carbon copy of our specific style of governance. We should just stop this endless militarism, this endless interventionism in countries all over the world to try to make them in our image. It's not working. It's a failed process. We're pretty shitty at it. So let's just stop doing that, right? If that was the message in and of itself, then that's great. That's fantastic. So rhetorically, what Joe Biden is saying here is absolutely great. Now, is it accurate? Not really, because Joe Biden, what he actually means here is not, I'm an anti-imperialist, I'm going to be withdrawing a lot of our troop presence around the world. What he actually means is we're transitioning. We're entering a transitionary period in how our military force is going to be used, right? So Joe Biden has talked relentlessly about over-the-horizon capabilities. And what he means is stuff like this, right? So we have this statement that came out from General Mark Milley where he said, it's possible, and therefore is probably definitely going to happen, that the U.S. will work with the Taliban to thwart ISIS-K. So he's talking about using over-the-horizon capabilities, meaning drone strikes, airstrikes, etc. So he's saying it's entirely possible that now this enemy that we were supposedly fighting over the last 20 years and now allowed to take over the country, that we're now going to be working with them to still conduct warfare in Afghanistan, right? So we're still going to be doing bombing campaigns against ISIS, apparently. And, when they say they're going to be bombing ISIS, what they also mean is that many civilians, as we saw previously with the recent example, will be caught up in that process and will be killed unnecessarily. So this is a type of warfare that Joe Biden is looking to transition to. So when these reporters come out there and they demand more blood and they demand more warfare just for the sake of it, understand Joe Biden is not some anti-war, crusader. He's not some anti-imperialist principled person or anything close to that. So what's actually going to happen as we continue to see this relentless propaganda from the media and the framing of these types of questions that they're asking? Joe Biden has a bloated military budget just like every previous president before him has increased the already bloated military budgets. He's asking for more military funding, and he said in basically every single one of the speeches that he's come out and given since the withdrawal process, he's saying, I'm not withdrawing all of our military presence around the world. Of course we're going to be maintaining the 800 or so military bases that we have around the world. Of course we're going to continue to be doing drone strikes, not only in Afghanistan, but also in Syria and Iraq and Somalia and in many other countries around the world. So he's not, ending our militarism overseas. So don't worry, if you're a defense contractor, if you're, you know, a member of the media who really loves endless warfare, you're going to get your fill, okay? You just have to look to other places, right? So Joe Biden is not a principled anti-imperialist. He's just shifting the ways that we are doing war, right? So he's talking about less mass boots on the ground troop presence and more drone strikes, more airstrikes, more CIA operatives, more mercenaries that we hire to go do our dirty work for us. That's what he's talking about. He's not talking about the things that the media is trying to freak out about and hyper sensationalize and pretend as if, you know, Joe Biden is going to end up cutting the military budget or something like that. He's not going to be doing anything close to that, okay? So, you know, pull yourself up. It's going to be okay. You know, these bloodthirsty media figures will be able to get their fill in other places. So it's just completely ridiculous. This entire framing that we've seen in the wake of Biden deciding to withdraw from Afghanistan, I've given him just as much credit as anybody else for pulling out. But you have to also take that in context and understand he's not ending the endless wars all over the world. He's just shifting the way that we are conducting them.